Hello and welcome back to the Movies Made Us Do It. Me and Matt are back. How are you, Matt?
I'm pretty good, sir. How are you?
All right. I did my homework. I watched two films that you also watched. Planned to watch one because you mentioned it last week while we were doing Con Air. Lovely film. And the other one, you messaged me last night saying you'd watched it, so I watched it when I got up.
Oh, nice.
So there we go. I guess we'll kick off with the movie, but before we do that, just a quick. I have watched all of Reacher season 3. We'll do that when you finished it.
Okay, cool.
And I can't be fucked with Daredevil Born Again. I'm done. I just can't be arsed. It's trying really desperately to be the Netflix show, and it's just not there. And I've realized a thing, and I don't know because I haven't watched the Marvel TV shows. If this is a thing they do in every Marvel TV show, it might be a Marvel TV trope. But every episode, apart from the first one was pretty good. But other than that, it's been like really uneven, often dull episodes.
Right.
Punctuated by like massive or cool reveals in the last second of that episode to try and tease you to watch the next episode, which then very little happens in and it's very dull.
No, not bait TV.
Yeah, like almost like their movies. Like they're doing it for the TV show. It's like in the last few seconds of the show, it'll be like, but here, look, the Punisher. And then you see the next episode. Like, okay, yeah. I don't know if it's a pattern because it's the only Marvel show I think I've watched. I watched some of the Hawkeye show.
I saw half of Moon Knight.
Oh, I heard that was real bad. Actually, you told me that was real bad.
Oh god, dude, it started off pretty good actually. It was like, oh, this is really interesting, and then it utterly collapsed.
That's a shame. I used to love Moon Knight when I was in my teens. Moon Knight was one of my favorites.
He's a cool character.
He is a cool character. Marvel likes Batman.
Yeah, it's Marvel's Batman, yeah. But they did what they've done, with all of their stuff. It's here's a woman to take over your position, and like she's
just but the thing that blows my mind with that is like why when you're determined to put women forward, I'm not against it. Why didn't you do a Black Widow movie way back when? How the fuck are DC making a Wonder Woman movie before you're making a Black Widow movie? Like, what are you doing? So weird.
Well, I mean, it's always been the prevailing thing. Women don't sell. Women don't sell in action movies and stuff.
A fucking Black Widow movie after Iron Man 2 would have fucking sold.
You can pull up evidence that says that is true.
100%.
A number of female-led action movies that tanked, because people weren't willing to put it.
But there's plenty that worked.
They did the fucking work with Black Widow.
They
already established her.
Totally. Just maybe don't do your Black Widow movie after everyone knows that Black Widow's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bit of a mistake, guys. Anyway, let's talk about movies. Let's fuck this normal shit.
Yeah.
Where should we start, Matt? Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the Gorge then.
All right. I wanna tell you about the Gorge. You've also seen the Gorge, but
yes.
I heard that this film was fucking shit.
Yep.
I had heard it was really uneven and a complete fucking mess. And I didn't really want to watch it. And you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch the Gorge. You should watch the Gorge." And I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." But I was thinking like, "Oh, geez, really?" And then I watched it, and it is a bit confused and a bit of a mess.
There are some serious questions that you have to ask about.
I will say that the first half of this movie is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I loved everything until they went into the Gorge. I was like 100%. Like, this is fucking superb. I love this. Like you know me. I'm a big Twilight Zone fan. I don't need things explaining. I don't need to know why the Gorge is the Gorge.
No.
And seeing the creepy creatures come out was cool enough.
Yep.
And I was really invested in the love story. I thought Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, they're both great.
Yep.
Great actors, great performances. I bought their relationship. I bought the lot. And to boot, amazingly well shot and amazingly well lit.
Yep.
Anyway, Matt, your thoughts before we continue on any further.
Well, I must admit slight bias in that I love Anya Taylor-Joy, and I'm happy to watch her, read the phone book.
You have been very upfront and honest about this many times.
So that she is one of the reasons why I wanted to watch this movie.
Sure.
However, I saw the trailer. I like the idea.
Yeah, I like the idea.
I like Miles Teller. I think he's I've not seen him in a lot, but what I have seen of him,
yeah,
I think he's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, you don't get enough of these sort of, horror tinged movies that have a slightly Cthulhu bent, let's say.
Yeah.
Because it kind of does.
Yes.
And I started hearing things like, oh no, it's terribly put together. It's, all that sort of stuff. And I think, okay, well, I'm going to watch it. I thought, fuck it, I'll watch it anyway.
Yeah, and also I'll drag my co-host into watching it too.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
Now, like you, the first half is great.
The first half, I was like, what are people complaining about? This movie's fantastic. Like, genuinely was my fault in the first half.
The second half, I really loved too.
Right, I liked the second half a lot. It felt like a different movie.
Yeah, it does. It really sort of...
I didn't hate it, though. I actually came out of this... The main problem I have with this movie, and this is just morbid old me, I just felt like it shouldn't have had a happy ending.
I don't mind that.
Or not the ending they had when they meet up in fucking France. And oh, Jesus. Spoilers, yeah. That's not the reason to watch this movie. It's everything else.
I liked the happy ending. I don't know. Call me cynical. Every now
and again. I get it.
Call me a romantic sometimes, and I know I am. I'm a cynical romantic.
Yeah.
But every now and again, it's nice to have a happy ending, I think.
Fair enough.
And I was happy for these two characters to have that.
I was really I think I was just really enjoying this weird love story with a Cthulhu horror bent. I thought the less we saw of the creatures, the better. They looked terrifying. Like, I was like, for full CG monsters, the initial reveal of them climbing up the walls, I genuinely was like, that's really creepy. That is genuinely creepy. Should have stayed like that. And don't get me wrong, like you said, the second half, I did enjoy it a lot, and I thought the designs of the creatures were really cool.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like the same movie.
No. I think it's not the right. Spoilers here.
It's not
folks.
Cthulhu.
Spoilers here, folks. The whole it's this organization running the thing, and it's like
awful.
Oh no! Don't do that.
Why do you have to explain it?
No, yeah, they didn't need to.
It was just, it reminded me quite a bit.
Of it seeping in from somewhere.
I love that. I love that.
It would have been so much more interesting.
It doesn't need any explanation.
Or even just that. They could have just said experiments that they did during the war did something.
They opened something. Yes, they opened a rift.
You didn't need the chemical weapons aspect.
No, that to me was probably the biggest negative of the whole thing.
And then as soon as they go, it's to make super soldiers, you go, no, fuck off with your super soldiers.
Yeah,
fuck off with your super soldiers. Oh, good God! It didn't need any of that.
No, it didn't. It didn't need that at all. And there were things like you needed. Well, no, you didn't need actually. You had the setup of these two people either side of the gorge. They're not supposed to talk to each other. I loved that when they were doing the written notes to each other and all the shooting stuff. That was great.
I like. The thing I don't like is that. So you've got this gorge which monsters pour out of, and you run it with two people.
I mean, it is. Yeah, I know the setup is ludicrous. Yes,
that is just dumb.
Totally agree.
They could have made it a small group.
Yeah,
just like a technical. I know that it would have meant there would have been more characters. It would have confused things and stuff, and it would have it would have, made the actual love story harder to,
yes,
I guess, get away with. But the initial, that's the sort of, you're told, it's hideous monsters might come out of here, but there's only you.
I mean, yes, it's ridiculous, but I will give them some credit. They have a lot of automated defenses.
Yeah, what happens when that goes down?
Well, no, I know. Will we find out? But yeah, no, I
mean, there's a lot of stupid things in this movie.
A lot, yes.
But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I like you said, the romance angle was great.
I thought they were very believable
It was so charming together.
Yeah, loved it.
And not only that, they gave them, actual characterization.
Totally.
Sure, he was the wounded soldier. You get that, but she's a wounded soldier. But I like the fact
the stuff with their father and stuff was brilliant.
They had different motivations and they had different, different ways of looking at it. Yeah. I love that whole thing. Yeah, the thing with her dad.
I love that.
Thing that he takes the bullets from her. He carries her burden, sort of thing.
And also the relevance of the date that will be coming up while she's there, and all of that stuff. I was like, this is really, really good stuff.
Yeah. Also, wonderful use of spitting off the edge of the world by the yeah-yeah-yeahs.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll get to music with the other film.
I'd like to know why the Russian side had the better music.
She had like Ramones and all sorts going on.
She had great music over there.
I would have been straight over that side. Over there is way better over here. Sigourney Weaver also shows up.
Sigourney Weaver seems to have slotted into that sort of head of evil company.
Her performance was fine. I feel like Sigourney Weaver is so talented as an actress that in this case, I don't think she gave a fuck. She just turned up. And she was fine because she's just that talented. But I didn't really feel like her heart was in it, if I'm honest.
Right.
She was fine.
No, but I'll tell you now, slight spoilers for what movie we're talking about later on.
Oh boy.
Right. Her being uninterested in this movie is entirely different to another actor we will get to later, who is a fucking amazing actor.
Well, I wasn't going to bring that up until that movie, but yes.
He cannot pull off any enthusiasm for that movie, right? But that,
I am in complete agreement.
I'm getting ahead of ourselves.
I'm in complete agreement.
She just brings the
gravitas of
an authoritative figure, which
she's
to be
great.
fair, from the point of view of her character, you don't need more than that anyway.
Yeah.
Just a really competent actress.
She was fine. Yeah, she was fine.
Full off the menace, I guess. One of the things I do love is that the creatures were, from what I gather, based on the paintings of, now I'm going to fuck his name up, Zadislav Beksinski.
Okay.
If you may not have heard of him, but you would have most definitely seen his paintings, because they've been on metal covers, heavy metal album covers, and they're sort of, he did, because sadly he was killed. He did these amazing sort of landscapes of like blasted sort of, like almost like war-torn things, but with people melding into buildings and
oh wow,
hideous sort of deformed creatures and like stuff that you see from Warhammer, like with Nurgle and stuff like that, like that sort of thing. He did these, and the creatures are very, very much look like some of his works. So I was very happy that with the creature designs and the way that initial thing when he falls into the tree bit.
Yeah,
the tree starts trying to.
That was awesome, and when he fell on the ground and then the ground started trying to eat him, I was like, "This is amazing."
It was really cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool, and I think
all the designs are great. All the creature designs are fantastic.
Yeah, and I loved the whole sort of there was a nice sort of almost like an inevitability of anybody that worked there is probably going to die or become something hideous.
Yes, and it does get kind of ridiculous when you find out how the Gorge works
Yeah.
them surviving really just becomes so ludicrous. Like, even by the end, I was expecting one of them to be like, "Oh dear."
Dude, right now this is going to sound, I'm really digging on it, but there is no way Anya Taylor-Joy's character survived.
No, well, her specifically was who I was thinking of. Yes.
Yeah, she gets injured a number of times and you just think, well, that's her gone. That's it.
Well, and also like they walk through, for lack of spoilers, the fucking core of this incident.
Yep.
With her bleeding with an open wound.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
There are definitely some very dumb things in this movie.
But I still had a really good time, and I still loved... I would say I loved 50% of this movie, and I really enjoyed the other 50%. As nonsensical as it was.
Yes, I am fully with you on that one. I absolutely fully enjoyed all of the cool sort of, as other people have said, sort of computer game elements of the second half.
Yes, yeah, me too. It just felt like a different movie, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it did. It felt like a very different movie. But because of the build up for those two characters and the way, and you knew it was coming anyway if you'd seen the trailer. You knew that. Well, I mean, even then you just think, well, you're not going to have a Gorge. A
brief expedition, maybe, but yes.
Yeah, it would have been a very, I would say, shit movie if you had this monstrous Gorge there and nothing actually happened with it.
See, I'm down with that idea. I'm kind of down with that idea. Just having the creatures coming out and them just,
Yeah. So you had to have something, but I was willing to go with them because I love those characters.
Me too. I loved those characters. I was invested in them by that point of the movie. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and I'm not going to defend the criticisms that people have levied at this film. The reason that people hate this film, I understand totally.
Yeah.
I just thought the pros far outweighed the cons with this one. No matter how silly some of it was and how uneven and confused the plot was, there was a lot to like here, and I had a really good time. So I'm glad you mentioned me watching it, because yeah,
it's not going to blow anybody away with its effects, and it's not going to, with its blow anyone with its action scenes. No. What it is to do is thoroughly entertain you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think some people may not want to watch this movie for a love story, but it is a love story. It's
100% a love story.
It's a romantic horror movie.
And to go one further, the love story is the best part of the movie.
Yes, it is. And I mean, you can certainly say if that's not your bag, then don't bother.
Yeah, I mean, the second half you'll get your action and gore if you want some of that. But
yeah, but if you're not willing to if you're not interested in the, a love story between these two characters, then
you're not going to get a lot out of this.
That's okay, but that's the core of this movie.
I agree,
and I liked it for that, and I had a lot of fun. And Derrickson is a relatively good director. I mean, he's relatively good. He is a good director. I like the Black Phone. I thought that was great.
I really enjoyed Black Phone.
I like Sinister, and I like Doctor Strange.
Yes, yeah, I really that Doctor Strange movie really good actually. Yeah,
so it's for its flaws, I think it's a thoroughly enjoyable movie that I would recommend.
Absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree. So, what do you want to cover next?
So, I will do Myth of Man.
Myth of Man.
So, this is a movie that I completely stumbled across almost by accident. It was a sort of looking for something to watch, and I saw the picture and I thought, oh, okay, let's look at the trailer.
I mean, I haven't seen the trailer. I am very intrigued by the picture alone, though.
Yeah. So, this is now I don't know whether his name is Jamin Winams or Jamin, but he previously had directed a film that I'd seen called Ink, which is a really interesting film, very creative.
Don't think I've seen it.
I quite like. Well, I haven't seen his second movie called The Frame, but I'm now I've seen this. I'm definitely going to go back and watch that.
Oh, cool.
So this is a movie about. So it's set in an alternative world. It's set on a diesel punk, steampunky sort of world.
Oh, okay.
Where all the people, they seem. I'm not sure whether they're automatons or whether they're just bioengineered or something, because they all seem to have these little trumpet devices at the back of their necks. And we are introduced to Ella, who is an artist and an absolute pure soul.
Right.
She sees the good in everybody, and in this world there is there's a church and a creation myth of this comet that goes by, which happens every night. A comet goes by every night in this world, and they believe it's their creator. And
okay,
Ella has this job where she works for this prophet who, is for this church, and she runs this sort of machine for him with her art that shows the story of the creator coming down from this comet and making this child,
right,
and then going back up to sort of into the air, and then this child is chased by a monster, and the child sings to the creator, and the creator comes back to help. So she believes that she is receiving messages from the creator, and that she can do something to help to get his attention. She hopes to get his attention because she sees all the horror in the world, and she hopes to get his attention somehow.
Right.
And maybe put things right, or like. Now, I will tell you this. I've told you all this, but what I haven't told you is this is a silent movie.
Cool.
There is music and there are sound effects and all that sort of thing, but Ella, we are seeing the world through Ella, who is deaf and mute.
Amazing.
So everything we experience is basically through her. So there is people do speak, but we don't know what they say.
Sure.
I mean, you can get some of it if you can lip read. Some of all the intentions are very, very plain. So there is this. Everybody seems to have this strip on their arm that glows blue.
Right.
And there is this mist or this red fog that comes over the city every now and again, and alarms go off and everybody has to get to safety. And if anybody is caught in this, they are either incinerated by it, or they are injured in some way, and become damaged. Basically, when we first meet Ella, she's on a train and she's drawing the people that are in this train, and there's a small boy that comes on who's one of the main characters, who is a pickpocket, and she does this great little thing where she draws him and shows him, and he's looking at this wallet sticking out of this woman's purse, and she's like, she's telling him, no, don't do that, and she draws on the other side of the paper a cage, and she spins it to show him, if you do that, you'll end up in a cage, sort of thing.
Sure.
And it's wonderful. It's just wonderful little moment that tells you, about her character, and that this other child gets on the train and his strip is flashing red.
Okay.
And he's clearly ill and at death's door, and everybody on the train avoids him like he's got the plague, and they all stay back. But she goes and she helps him. She gives him this symbol of the creator, which is it's a man with a giant paintbrush,
right?
Which it seems to be their sort of symbol for their god.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to spoil anything else really, other than to tell you that she thinks she's got messages from her god, and she sees these symbols and she's trying to find what these symbols mean and how to use them, and through other characters she meets and through devices that get made, it sort of gets through the story. I utterly love this movie.
It sounds really really interesting.
Sorry, Karen.
No. I was just going to say, it sounds really interesting to me. One of my films of the year, the other year, was No One Will Save You, a similarly silent movie. I think when it's done well, it's totally fine. Another thing, this is just a pure observation. The poster for this, gives me such, and this is not a negative. This is, and you will know because it's period specific. This gives me classic BBC vibes, this poster. It feels very Neverwhere, kind of, you know?
And that is a very good, I would say, parallel.
Cool.
It has a very sort of Neverwhere. Did you ever see Mirror Mask?
Yes.
It's got that feel to it.
Oh, that's cool. See, you're selling me on this one.
Yeah, so Jemin Winham's the director, and he also wrote the soundtrack, so the soundtrack is him too. And they filmed it, I think they filmed it like 3 years ago.
Right.
And him and his wife spent 3 years doing the rendering the effects.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been sort of
a labor of love.
Yeah, it feels like it. I will say it certainly has a sort of message.
It's definitely the kind of movie that never gets made by a big studio. Like this has to be a project. This has to be a passion project, a real art piece. Someone's got a real thing they want to give to the world, and amazing.
And it's just so beautifully made, and I will say some of the effects aren't brilliant.
But you can look past that.
If it isn't $1 million fucking movie.
Yeah, and you can look past that. If the plot's good, if the story's good, if the characters are interesting, you can look beyond the effects.
And it's just so charming, and I cried at least twice.
Wow.
The main actress Laura Roche, who I believe is Austrian, is so fucking charming. And she says not a fucking word. It is all done through her gestures and all done through her facial expressions and the way she is. And you know everything about her character. She doesn't need to say a word. She's absolutely wonderful. She's so good. And everybody is brilliant in it. All of the... Anthony Nico as Sieg. Martin Angerber as Boxback. Ian Hinton as Callie. They're all wonderful, and they're these great fucking characters that I totally wanted to spend time with, and they're so, there's real tragedy and real emotion here that is just utterly charming and wonderful. And this is why I love cinema. This is why I watch
passion.
For the not sure I love big explosions.
We all do, but yeah,
there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said for those, and movies have taken a kick in lately, but things like this just make me feel this is it's
the smaller indie projects.
Yeah,
that's where it's at now.
And I totally realize that this is a hard sell because it's not your average movie. It's kind of asking a lot.
I feel like if anyone's listened to your review here, they will know whether this is for them or not. Because I've heard what you just said, and I'm not 100% on board. But I totally can imagine. So I know friends of mine that would be like, "Fuck no,"
Yeah. I mean, I think you could probably watch the trailer and decide if it's good.
Yeah. I haven't seen the trailer. I'll have to look it up.
But it's so wonderful, and I fear that no one's going to see it. I mean, I came across it by accident. I'd not seen the stuff for it, which annoys me.
I've not seen anything about this.
I'm so glad I found it because it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's good. And like I said, the main actress is so utterly charming in that sort of, in that Amelie kind of way. You know what I mean? That sort of, those wonderful expressions that Amelie has, and those beautiful sort of way she looks at the world. It's very similar to the way the character of Ella looks at her world, and it's just a great movie that I utterly adored, and I hope people go and see it. I would encourage anybody who likes to see something interesting and out there and just beautiful with I think a message that some people won't sit well with some people, because I think, and I'm going to set alarm bells ringing here. I think it does have a religious message.
Sure. Well, it sounds like it certainly. I mean, from what you've said, it would either have a religious message or an anti-religious message, one way or another, given the context. So yeah.
And that that will put a lot of people off. But if you're just willing to go with a movie that is just beautiful and creative, with wonderful performances, I cannot recommend this movie enough. It is wonderful.
Yeah, I'm 100% sold. I will definitely check it out. Maybe I'll talk about it when I've watched it. We can. Sounds like it's right up my street, to be honest.
I'd love to see what you thought of it.
Yeah, it looks really intriguing. Well, the other movie that I've watched that you've also watched, was The Electric State.
Yep.
Much like The Gorge, I'd heard this was awful, and it was. So that's good.
Sometimes they speak the truth.
Sometimes, well, I understand why people didn't like The Gorge. It's just my jam, or at least half of it. This movie, I don't even know who this is for. I was really confused watching this. I was like, it feels like it should be a kids movie, but then there's swearing in it and stuff that would make it not a kids movie. And it's all about the 80s and early 90s, because it's an alternate reality, right? Where robots are invented in, I guess, the 80s, and then by the Clinton,
Disney makes them
in the 70s, 60s, 70s, I guess.
Well, I was guessing because the footage they show you shows them making automatons.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. But anyway, by
40s, 50s, maybe.
Yeah, but anyway, by the Clinton administration, they go to war with the robots, the sentient robots, and it's all bad. And they build this exclusion zone, and everyone's excluded. But as a result, a lot of this movie, particularly around Chris Pratt's character, revolves around the 80s. And I'm like, well, kids aren't going to really give a crap about any of this stuff that you're talking about. This seems to be aimed at more of my generation. And it certainly doesn't vibe with me. And I think the biggest problem with this movie, honestly, I think it's meant to be a comedy, but it's painfully unfunny.
Oh God, it's so unfunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I mean,
so very much like the last, like the Gorge with art with artist influence.
Yeah.
So this is a graphic novel by
Oh, it's a graphic novel. I didn't even know that. So
yeah, Stellenhag. So it's a graphic novel by this who also did Tales from the Loop.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Right. So it's a series of beautiful paintings of a world. It's a journey of a girl and a robot trying to find her brother. I think it is but they changed the story. The Russos changed the story. Now,
what did they change about the story?
I read this right or not, but
is the bit that they changed the bit that makes this movie really dumb?
Well, it sounds like the Russos couldn't figure out how to make the graphic novel work properly. They couldn't work out how. They didn't understand the story enough, so they kind of did their own thing with it. Is what I'm getting.
I mean, a lot of directors and writers do that, so yeah.
Yeah, it is. But they clearly didn't get the fucking soul of what the story was, because they make this awful fucking all of the stuff with the drones and all that sort of stuff. That I don't think any of that is in the graphic novel, if I from what I remember.
I really hated the the human drone thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was really awful. I thought it was really tacked on, because it's like it's like a society that's rejected robots and quarantined them off.
Yep.
But then they're gonna walk around in robots all day, and it's like, okay, yes, they haven't got the AI in them, but it still seems really high risk, and like, why? It just doesn't make any sense. And then they've got people like lying on the street, and we've got these supposedly touching scenes where her brother's robot's gonna put like a coat around the guy, and I'm like, we're starving to death though, isn't he? Like, is no one?
Yeah. So that's the there are sort of pictures in the graphic novel of there's no real explanation for a lot of the stuff. It's just sort of technology that's sort of happened, and you know, it there are certain suggestions that sort of thing is there, but they don't do it very well. And the thing that doesn't really make sense for me with the drones is, right, so this war happens with the robots because they're sick of being treated as slaves.
Yeah,
they want their freedom, right? You know, okay, fine. Now, the war happens. The humans are losing because robots are you know, they're better.
Robots don't sleep, as Chris Pratt says.
But what doesn't make sense is but they're not actually bulletproof, and they're not, like, you know, completely not destroyable.
Well, this film makes them seem pretty fragile.
But the way
to be honest,
people uploaded into machines. Okay.
I mean, you would have thought just throwing EMPs at would probably resolve the issue pretty quick. But
yep. Yeah. I mean, they even do. They wipe out you know, the mall bit, and you're like, well, oh, that seemed
pretty easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
They were waiting for you as well, and
yeah, they knew you were coming. Yeah. I will give this film some credit. It's
which bit?
Well, it's probably the only fucking kids movie I've ever seen that had Danzig in it. That was bizarre. I was not expecting Mother in the middle of my kids movie.
It gets at least 1 point from me for using Mother.
It was just bizarre. I was like, what?
There was actually a couple of songs that I thought, oh, okay.
This is the fucking plague of Hollywood right now. Is like, we've got a terrible film. Let's just give it an amazing soundtrack, and maybe we'll get away with it. You know,
which is actually which again can be disastrous or you know. Remember,
sure.
The one that we
Suicide Squad.
Always, yeah, there you go. See, I didn't even need to say
no,
it.
because that was the one that started it. I feel like that's the one that really started the trend of bad movie with amazing songs just shoehorned in.
Yeah, with no actual sort of
reason
to why you were choosing that fucking song.
No, none at all.
Into the movie.
This might be a controversial thing to say. I don't know. This movie, I've been thinking, in fact, funny enough, I messaged a friend this, we were talking the other day, and I said it, and then watching this movie, I was like, no, I definitely think it's got to the point. I am really bored of Chris Pratt's shtick. Is he capable of playing any other character? Like, I feel like he's been the same fucking character in every movie since Guardians of the Galaxy now.
Yeah.
Like, every movie, he's the same character to varying degrees, and it's kind of tiresome at this point. I don't know if that's really negative to say.
It's been a long time since he's played something else.
But that's the thing. I know he's capable of playing other roles.
Yeah.
And I get it. You know, I get it. It's the popular thing. It's like, oh, you're known for this, so let's cast you in these types of roles. I just want him to just go do something else for a bit, please. This one character who turns up in every movie is getting a bit boring for me. It's a bit tiresome.
But it's worse than that, because Millie Bobby Brown is also doing the same thing as well.
Yes. But it's like they were all typecast in this movie, like everyone.
So the main difference between the enjoyment of this and The Gorge is that in The Gorge, I like those characters.
Oh, me too.
Characters, and I wanted to spend time with those characters. In this, they are all dull. They say their lines like they're just reading them off the fucking script.
Some of the being charitable, some of the robots I kind of cared about more.
The only one that I gave a fuck about was what was his name? The one that had various bodies.
Yes, that was the one robot I was thinking of too.
Chris Pratt's best mate.
Yeah, he was cool.
He was the only robot that really had any form of personality, or actually sounded like he was reading his lines.
I will say as well, not that it's a terribly original idea, but I really love the concept of an alternate history with
yes,
you know, like and the imagery, which obviously now I realize comes from a graphic novel, is quite striking and cool.
Yeah, look at the paintings; they're beautiful.
Yeah, well now I know it's from a graphic novel; it makes sense. But
and what I'll say, because I reviewed it when it came out years ago, 2020, I think it came out. Please, people, go watch the Loop, Tales from the Loop, the series on.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
it's a fucking great show. It's slow, and people might find it boring, but it's got great performances from Rebecca Hall and what's his name? The guy who was in Brazil, the main actor in Brazil, Price. Is it David Price? Anyway, it's got these wonderful.
It's great. It's a great series.
It's an interpretation of those sort of tales and those sort of stories way better, and done with genuine love and genuine affection, and you'll care about the characters in that series. This movie sucks.
It really does. I was trying, like, early on, I was like, oh, maybe it'll be okay. And I was like, no, this is just not getting any better.
I didn't give it a single fuck about any of the characters. They were all...
Well, like you, Chris Pratt's robot friend was, like, the one... Yeah. And I kind of liked the peanut robot for a bit. Like, he was okay.
I got nothing from him.
But nothing from the human characters, that's for sure. Like,
No.
And the villains, I mean, good God.
Right. Now, this is it. This is what I was hinting at earlier on when I was talking.
Please.
Stanley Tucci is a fucking great actor.
He's an amazing actor. He was one of the reasons I was like, oh, this might be okay. Stanley Tucci's great.
He was shit in this.
Oh, he just didn't give a shit. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Stanley Tucci be bad.
I don't think I've ever seen Stanley Tucci give less of a fuck.
Yeah. He was bad in this.
Yeah. It's like he knew that this was a bad movie and he was like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah, it was awful. And I mean, fucking, what's, Esposito, Giancarlo Esposito. What was he? I mean, he was again, he was playing a character that he's played many times.
Oh, yeah.
And he looked zoned out.
Yeah.
I mean, but admittedly, most of his performance was just his face on a screen.
Yeah, I didn't really get that either, because it kind of seemed like there was that one scene where his robot body gets crushed under a load of stuff.
Yep.
And I kind of assumed, because he turns off, and you kind of assume, well, that's the end of that robot body. But then when the other robot body turns up, he's got a crack in the screen exactly the same as the other one did. So I'm like, well, is it the same one then, I guess?
Yeah, the same one. The Tucci's character re-energized it somehow.
Okay. Right.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
I mean, what I want to know is, his gun kept getting dropped. Why the fuck didn't anybody pick him up and just shoot him with it?
Oh, yeah.
Why? There were so many opportunities they had where they could have just completely destroyed that robot, that drone. And they just didn't do it.
Yes, there were plenty of opportunities. Also, the
story says he gets away. Well, then write a fucking better story then.
This is a nitpick. This is a total nitpick, but I made a note of it, so I'm gonna say it. Because this was a live comment as I was watching it. I thought this. When we go to Chris Pratt's lair of shite. We realised that he's got a clapper to turn the lights on and off.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a cute joke, and I was willing to just let it go. But they made it a massive point of this scene because she claps and turns the lights off, and I'm like, those fucking things would have been going on and off so many times during this fight scene if they were actually going to work like real life. I was like, fucking really?
Well, I think worse than that is, but it's a drone that's probably got lights and...
you would imagine. Well, he turns the lights on after she turns the lights off, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But you'd think it would just have night vision and just not be phased at all. Like,
I'm sure the lack of light wouldn't have affected him.
No. And yeah, the whole, like, Chris Pratt's character collects stuff from the 80s because after the world is revived, people are going to want toys from the 80s.
Yeah, toys and lunchboxes.
But he also sells guns, which are worth way more. And I'm like, why are you... I don't even know.
I mean, they
like,
just want...
Why have you got, like, 17 singing bass... Like, why?
To make him Han Solo, they wanted to make him a smuggler with a heart.
But he could have been a smuggler with a heart and smuggled weapons and stuff. I mean, Han Solo presumably didn't smuggle worthless crab.
I think we're supposed to be endeared to his character because of that.
Yeah, I really wasn't, unfortunately. I wish I could have been.
Oh man, it was just so hot. It's just so horrible.
It was painful.
It's too fucking long as well.
Oh god, it's like 2 hours and 2.5 hours or something. I couldn't believe how long it was.
2 hours. It's 2 hours.
I put it on and I was like, oh, it'll be like an hour and a half max. Yeah. And god, I got about half an hour in and I went to make a drink. So I paused it and I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my god, there's an hour and a half to go of this. Like, good god.
Yeah, for me, it was the hour mark. The hour mark was like, oh Christ, I've got to go and like have a drink here. I'm going to go and get, and I thought, I'll pause it here. And I literally come back, was like, what? There's another fucking hour of this movie?
yeah, it just keeps going.
Oh god, it's just. Oh.
And we love long movies when they're necessary. This was just there was nothing here.
People who say movies don't need to be 2 hours long.
Some movies need to be 3 hours long, 4 hours long. I don't mind.
They need to be.
Agreed.
This movie doesn't need to be fucking 2 hours.
Oh man, I would have cut the shit out of this film if I was editing it.
What really grinds my gears about this? What really pisses me off, right? Is this movie's budget was what? Fucking something like 260 million.
Was it really?
It's like one of the most expensive movies ever.
I don't see that at all.
And apparently the Russo brothers said, oh, they only wanted to use digital effects because if they'd have used puppets and animatronics, it would have cost like 5 times as much.
Maybe.
Oh,
that doesn't excuse the script though.
It's a 320 million budget.
Jeez, it doesn't. No, honestly, it does not look it.
Nope.
It does not look 320 million. Did you say?
Yes.
It does not look like a 320 million film.
This is what grinds my gears about this movie, right? This movie has got a 320 million budget. It doesn't look like it's got that budget because some of the CG is pretty ropey, right? Now you compare that to a movie like Myth of Man, which had I don't know what the budget on that is. I'm sure
it's not going to be 350 million.
A single percentage of that number, right? And sure, some of the effects don't look brilliant, but that movie was done with love and fucking pure, desire to show something
unique
wonderful and brilliant. And this gets all that money and they piss it up the fucking wall. That fucks me off.
And what annoys me even more is that now the thing I thought was most striking about this movie in that visual style, I kind of like the robots looking like cartoon characters from the 40s. I kind of like all that stuff. That's cool. And now I realize that all of the cool stuff in this movie is from a graphic novel that they apparently have butchered to produce this film. And it's like, well, there was something there apparently, but you didn't understand it, so you just made a different film.
Yeah. So they made a generic Marvel movie.
If you've got 320 million to spend, you could do some drafts. You know, you could do a couple of drafts of that script before you film it, because it feels like this was a first draft at best.
Or I don't know, maybe fly in the artist and ask him.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. What did you mean by this? We're too dumb to figure it out. Yeah. Could you tell us?
Yeah. But
or even better still, maybe don't make a movie if you don't understand what any of it's about. Like, just don't even do it. If you don't understand it, don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I misinterpreted that, but I don't think I did.
Okay, well, let's for the sake of this, let's assume. Yeah, I really can't recommend this one. And the thing is, the Gorge had set me up to where I was like, hey, maybe this one's also good.
Yep.
You know, because I was like, well, the people were saying the Gorge was terrible, and I love that. I really had a good time. So I'm like, maybe with this one, I'll similarly have a great time. Mm-hmm. It does also suffer, and I know it. I think this is meant to be aimed at kids, despite the swearing and the fact that it's got Danzig on the soundtrack and everything else.
This movie.
But the thing is, as well, it's like they try to do horror, but it's like it's very difficult to do horror when your robot looks like a cartoon character. They're doing like the cartoon. They're doing like, oh my god, the robot's walking around. Is it going to find Millie Bobby Brown? But it's like it's got these like comical cartoon legs walking around, and I'm like,
well, they have that. They have the opportunity to do that and to lean into that with the scabs,
but they didn't.
And
because those looked like modern day animatronics from. They didn't look like they were from the 40s or 50s.
No. And the idea was that they're robots that are destroying.
They build them up so much, and when you finally see them, they're rubbish.
Well, I thought one or two of them had a certain scariness about them, because when the initial sort of thing was like, oh, that looks a bit creepy, and then they just sort of let it get like, it sort of doesn't go anywhere. You're like, well, you just told us about you keep telling us about these scabs, and then that's it. That's all you do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great, wonderful.
Cheers.
They could have really lent into the sort of horror of those, scabs. But no, they just get through.
Yeah.
You know, they get through. It's fine, and they find bloody Kihi Kwan, who's, oh my god, why it was like totally fucking wasted on this movie. Well, no, actually, not just him. Everybody's fucking wasted.
Everybody's wasted on this movie.
I mean,
I've seen Chris Pratt give great. I mean, I do think he's in a bit of a rut at the moment with these roles, but I've seen him give great performances in the past. I've seen Millie Bobby Brown give great performances in the past. Like, I just don't know. Nothing from this.
Everybody in this movie can do better.
100% they could.
I think,
and the plot, the central plot with the brother,
yeah,
and the whole reason and what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, but Jesus is dumb.
Yep.
It's so dumb.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense, does it?
And I'll tell you what as well. I mean, they fucking undo it, which again pissed me off. I was like, well, so that was all for nothing. They have this real emotional moment at the end.
Yeah.
Of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is kids being upset and his kids going through some stuff, and it's easy to manipulate my emotions when it comes to the subject matter and it being a sibling or kids. I've got a brother, I've got family.
Yeah,
I felt fucking nothing.
Nope.
And that's like, I'm like, yeah, and I'm such an easy target for that kind of stuff. I'll cry at watching a movie any fucking time. And I was like, nah, I'm not feeling anything here.
No, do you know what? That's
I felt a little bit more for.
See, at the end, I was sat there thinking, why aren't I feeling anything?
Yeah, so was I. I was like, hey, this normally would work on me, but no.
This should be a heart wrenching moment.
It meant to be, yeah.
I don't care about.
Nope.
It's just awful.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's so bad, and it's this movie. The funding for this movie could have funded like 8 other movies. You know what I mean? So many other movies could have been funded by this piece of crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, oh god, I wanted to like it.
So did I.
But honestly, there's
especially
nothing.
Like I said, especially after the Gorge, I was like, hey, maybe I'm on a roll for movies that people hate that I really enjoyed. But no.
Yep.
Afraid not. I'm sure there are people that like this movie, and if you did, fair enough. It just wasn't. It was not for me. I'll say that.
It's just awful.
We've said before, there's nothing worse than an unfunny comedy, and this was decidedly unfunny. Every joke fell flat. There was one joke that I kind of laughed at, and I can tell you exactly what it is when they go to the robot quarantine city place.
Yeah.
And there's two robots that don't speak, and they've got signs. They speak on they've got lettering that comes up on a board.
Yes. Yeah.
And one of them's like I don't know what he says. He's like, "Oh, fuck off, robot scum," and the other one's like, "Calm down, Sarah," or something like that. That made me laugh because it was just written like the words just come up on the board, and I was like, "That's kind of funny." But that was it. The entire movie, and even that wasn't a laugh. It was like, "That's kind of funny," you know.
But it's really weird because like there are moments where you're like they tell you that even that just seems weird and sort of, why did you choose that?
Well, yeah.
When you find out what happened to her family, and it's like, spoiler, they hit a deer.
Spoiler, it had fuck all to do with the rest of the movie.
And you're like, why did you choose that?
That was so out of left field. I just don't even know. Like, I just don't even... it was such a bizarre... Because when she said it, I almost was like, what? I was like a double take.
I thought she was just saying that to get a reaction out of the teacher.
She's not, because we see it.
And then we see it, and you're like, oh no, she really did hit a deer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was a choice.
And one of the characters is even like, oh my god, yeah, I lost people during the war too. And she's like, nah, we hit deer.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Okay.
And what's really another really what I think it's funny and it's not supposed to be is there's that whole angle of humanity is now just plugged into these things and they don't leave their houses, they don't do anything.
That's such a tired trope, but if you're gonna do it,
it's a genuine human concern.
It is, but make a movie about it. Like, make a whole movie about it. Don't tack it on to your rubbish.
Why don't you go watch Ready Player One? That's a much better movie.
Yeah, and I have issues with Ready Player One, but it certainly is better than this, and bizarrely probably costs less. Amazingly,
and you know what Ready Player One has that this movie doesn't have? Characters I like.
Yes, the characters were quite likable,
and performances that are performances, and you know, stupid robots that actually have personality. Well, they're not robots because they're.
If you want to do it, if you want to do a movie, an adaptation about and a CGI, a mess of CGI, then watch Alita. That's a good fucking.
Oh, that's a great movie.
That's a great.
That's a movie that kind of fucking got buried in its.
A solid adaptation.
Yep.
For once.
Yep.
That basically deals with a lot of the themes going on here.
Yeah.
Far better.
With an utterly fucking charming lead.
Oh god, yeah.
She's wonderful.
I'm still hoping we get a sequel for that. There's still rumors of it.
It's the further away it gets.
Yeah, it feels unlikely, but I want it. I want it.
I do. It breaks my heart that movie did nothing.
I loved that movie. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I did. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, there are things wrong with that movie.
Oh yeah, no, totally, absolutely. But there's a lot of heart.
The anime is better.
Yes. It's one of the best anime adaptations I've seen, though.
Yeah.
Live action adaptations.
Yeah.
I can't recommend this one. This was bad. And
please,
too long.
Watch Myth of Man. That's a movie that deserves your attention. This doesn't deserve a second.
Or The Gorge. I think The Gorge is worthy of attention too.
Yeah.
but not this. Anyway,
it's just a hideous mess of just boredom and terrible performances by actors who can all do fucking better.
You know better. Do better.
I mean, look, Millie Bobby Brown is a little one note as an actress. She's not the greatest of actresses. But
she's young though. They're she's young. There's time.
I know she can fucking do better than this.
100% she can do better than this. And she's given some great performances, in my opinion, in shows and stuff she's been in. I think she's fine. She can the range can come as she grows older.
Yeah.
But this was not good.
No, this does nothing for anybody, and it also makes me turn away from the Russo brothers. It's like, you clearly fucking bungled this one.
Well, aren't they doing Avengers?
Yep.
The new one they did like a 50-hour reveal of some really boring stuff yesterday. Apparently. I got home from work
Harrison Ford, I don't care.
Oh, the old X-Men. We're bringing him back. We're wheeling out Patrick Stewart. He's 120, but here he is.
Why? I don't understand. It's like, you have a perfect opportunity to reboot the X-Men now. You can sever all the ties to all those old characters.
Well, aren't they going to do Battle World? Aren't they going to do Battle World and just reboot the whole thing after this? Isn't that the whole point of this?
I think so.
I'm assuming.
But they're wasting their time.
Well, yeah, I know they are. I'm not going to watch it. Like... I was just amazed. I got back from work yesterday, and I was just amazed that there were all these live streams of people sat there watching a static image of a chair, waiting for the next chair with a name. And then some of them, when I went on one, they were like, oh my god, it's moving. And then it would go to a name, and they'd have to Google the name because they didn't know who the fuck it was anyway. It was like, why are you doing this?
I actually watched the film Frat with, I think it was actually Nerdrotics.
Oh right.
With it was Gary and what's his face from Film Frat watching it, and it was like, even they had to look up one or two of the people, and you know, when they're looking up, having to look up to people.
I didn't really get it. I didn't really get it. I mean, I'm not a big Marvel, but I was like, surely just doing a thing would have been fine. It just felt like the worst way to do it. Like, I like the lineup of chairs, but just show them all. Just release it as one clip. Don't.
I was just gonna say, just run the camera along it.
Yeah, no, well, that's what it is, because if you look it up, there is like a real-time version of that now.
Yeah.
But they did it as this like 24-hour teaser or something. I was like, why is anyone sat here doing this? I guess it's free content from people, but that was bizarre.
I mean, the thing is this whole next set of movies that they're planning has already lost me, because they chose to make Robert Downey Jr. Doom.
Oh, sure. And I will say, I mean, they lost me long before this. They lost me as soon as they did the multiverse stuff. I was like, I am out. 100% out. I know you quite like some multiverse stuff.
But what I mean is, they've
ruined Doom now. Yeah, I get it.
If Doom is in my opinion, probably after Magneto, the best Marvel villain.
I agree.
And the fact that they decided to waste fucking a new actor, and like possibly even like a genuinely new actor, we could have picked. They're just to play him. You know, on the performance level, they could have picked somebody wonderful like that. To just turn around and go, no, it's Robert Downey Jr. Aren't you excited? No.
And the thing is, I
don't want to see him as fucking Doom.
The thing is, I know why they're doing it. I can see why they're doing it.
Because they want bums on seats.
Well, no, yes, but also I think thematically and narratively, I think they're clearly ending this DC universe because they've set it on fire.
Marvel.
And they're going to reboot it. Yeah. They're going to reboot it because they've burnt down everything they made. They've ruined it, stamped it into the ground like Star Wars. And now they're like, we need to reboot it. So we're going to do these 2 movies, and it'll be Battle World or something similar. And the universe will be rebooted at the end. And it's like, okay, so you're having Robert Downey Jr. coming back because he was the original. He's there at the end now, and that'll be it. And fine, you're ruining Doc Doom. I get it. I get why you're doing it, because you want to reboot. I would have just preferred if we skipped all of this and you just rebooted. Just reboot anyway. Like, who cares? Just start again.
Yep. That is exactly what was it. And like you, they've lost me a while ago too.
Yeah.
This was an opportunity.
I would say after Endgame, I was pretty much like I enjoyed that Spider-Man multiverse one. That wasn't too bad. But
the Spider-Man.
I think that was the last one I watched. Actually,
the Spider-Man movies are the only thing they've done with it.
And weirdly, he's not in this one.
No, he's not.
He's not in the cast. He's not in that massive long list of chairs. Did not include Tom Holland. So that was weird.
That's a choice.
Anyway, Matt, don't break my heart. Tell me that Paddington in Peru is good.
Oh yes, okay.
Please, because I love this fucking series. I loved the first two Paddington movies. I thought they were great.
Me too. I've had a love of Paddington since I was a child.
Me too.
I've always loved.
And how rare that a movie adaptation does it. You know.
I mean, those first two movies are so fucking wonderful and so charming.
And like, I really loved the as a slight aside, the Winnie the Pooh one, the Christopher Robin one. I thought that was really good too.
Yes, that was
similarly a great adaptation of something.
Not to be confused with the horror one.
No, not the horror one. I mean the heartfelt, lovely one.
Right. So this time we have a different director, Dougal Wilson.
Yeah.
We have a different Mrs. Brown. So they've regened. They've got now Emily Mortimer playing her. So this time round, Paddington gets he starts off with him acquiring his new passport to make him a British citizen. Which felt a little weird, but sure. There was a thing about there's a through line about nationalities in this movie, which was interesting. Anyway, he gets a letter from the nun who runs the home for retired bears in Peru, saying that his aunt's been a bit down lately, and maybe he should sort of speak to her and come and visit, because she misses him and all that sort of stuff, and but she says, "Oh, don't tell her that I said anything. Don't mention me at all. I'm just as a concerned person. I'm saying this." So Paddington sort of tells the family, "Oh, something's wrong with Aunt Lucy. I'm really worried about her." And the family are having this sort of, they seem to be not breaking apart, but the children are getting older. They're
having some issues.
Yeah, well, Judy's going to go to college.
Sure.
And I forget the name of the boy, Jonathan. So Judy's off, is going to go to college, and of course the mum wants her to go to a college that's close.
Yeah, of course.
She's looking at going to Greenland or something or the Faroe Islands or something.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, who we've seen in previous movies, has a very mechanical mind, and he likes to build these gadgets. He's now built this seat in his bedroom that means that he doesn't really need to leave his bedroom. He's sat there playing his computer games, and this seat brings him food, snacks, and drinks, and he can shut the door on his parents just by pulling a lever. So they're sort of they're drifting away, and you've got this Mr. Brown. He's got a new boss. He's who's his whole thing is risk assessment and avoiding dangers and stuff. But his new boss, played by a blinking you'll fucking miss it, Hayley Atwell, who's supposed to be American for some reason.
Okay.
New American boss is all about embracing the danger and using risk assessment by jumping out of planes and bungee jumping and all that sort of stuff. So he's feeling a little weird about his work right now, but he decides that hey, I can embrace the danger. We can go to Peru. So they decide to have a family holiday and go to Peru to try and see what's ailing Aunt Lucy.
Sure.
So when they get there, she's gone. She's disappeared. Only her broken glasses were left, and a clue has been left that leads Paddington on a quest for El Dorado, the hidden city of gold.
Right. We've come a long way from London Station.
Yes, we really have. And also there's it's also about Paddington going home, going as if we're going, finding his roots, and he has this sort of dream about this bear statue, and when he's talking to, there was one that's quite funny. There was the antiques guy. He goes to see him about anything any sort of information he can find about Peru, and he says, "Oh, I've got just the book for you. It's this Traveler's Guide to Peru." He says, "You can probably ignore the chapter about Zeppelin travel."
That's pretty good.
That really tickled me.
Yeah.
And another joke that I really loved, which I'm going to spoil it slightly, but there's a great one with the nuns that run the retired home for bears.
Right.
Doing bingo, and the nun calling the number says, "Was it 4 horsemen in the apocalypse? Number 4. The Holy Trinity? Number 3." It's just a small throwaway joke that I really loved. It was really funny.
No, that's good. That's cool.
So here are the problems. For us, it doesn't feel as cohesive as the others do. It's slightly meandery. Emily Mortimer, who's a wonderful actress, doesn't quite pull off the same manic charm that oh god, what's her name? Why can't I remember her name? Sally Hawkins. She doesn't quite have the same manic charm that Sally Hawkins does for this role. It sort of loses its way because it just becomes this sort of jungle adventure that just isn't is good. You've got this. They to trek down the Amazon. They get a lift from Antonio Banderas, who is this. He's this boat captain who has this daughter and he's trying to be a better man, but he comes from a long line of family, the Cabots, who all basically came to an end trying to find El Dorado. And he sees they sort of turn up, and they talk to him, and like there's the conquistador relative who turns up. And he's like, "Let's eat the bear," and stuff like that. And he's like, "No, we can't eat the bear." Those bits are quite funny. It's not as good as Hugh Grant, who does make an appearance in this movie, which is great. It's at the very end. Phoenix Buchanan was so fucking good in that second movie. Hugh Grant absolutely ate up chewed the scenery in that movie in such a great way. This doesn't quite pull that off. You can see the sort of the story beats coming. A slight spoiler, but I think you can all see it. The head nun, as it were, played by what's her name? Why can't I find it? Olivia Colman.
Right.
Lord. Yeah, the Reverend Mother, played by Olivia Colman, is clearly a fucking villain, and she is, and she's okay. She has this musical number, which
a similarly extremely talented actress that could phone in a performance and it would still be great.
Which she's not phoning. I will say she's not phoning in the performance.
Right.
It's just not as good as
sure
it could be. It's still a nice movie. it still I mean, Ben Whistl's voice continues to be wonderfully charming as Paddington. The family don't feel like they get enough to do. They don't feel like the two kids kind of get completely sidetracked. They get very little to do. They also seem to have forgotten that Judy can speak bear, which annoyed me. It's just a little lackluster. It's just not as well put together. It's not as well directed. It's just slightly disappointing. It's certainly the worst of the movies. It's not horrible, but it's not great. It's not good. I think there's certainly enough for kids. I think kids will certainly be entertained by it. There's some interesting pratfalls and
right.
There's still some charm to be had from Paddington. It just doesn't feel cohesive enough. It doesn't gel nicely enough. It's a bit messy, and it just sort of, I think it feels very much like the, you know when you get like a series of movies that it's like, oh, we're all going on holiday, and it's the holiday movie, and it's just like, oh, okay, we're doing this now. It's like, oh, right, okay, and I get that they were trying to go for the sort of, oh, he's going back home and he's trying to find his roots, but he still loves the he's still a Brown. They're his family, and all, and you get all that. It's just done better in other movies, it's done better in the previous movies.
Yeah.
So,
but the other movies were great. The first two, in my opinion, I love those movies.
That is sort of the problem this movie has, in that I think those two movies are spectacular.
Me too.
They are so fucking good.
It was always going to be a tall order for a new director to come in and be like, "Hey guys, yeah."
Yeah, and it does suffer from that slightly. That it's it's always going to be compared to the previous entries. I would still recommend it. I still think it's a nice movie. It's still enjoyable. For the characters are all doing, their best. They're not phoning it in or anything. So it's it's not bad in that way. It just feels that it could have done with a stronger story, a stronger sort of through line, with just some better incidental bits of them trekking through the jungle. It feels like they kind of wasted the opportunity to do something interesting with their trek through the jungle, and they kind of just they have a boat incident, and then there's a little bit of a trek through the jungle that is fine, but they don't really use it to a great deal. They could have written something really interesting to the family to sort of group together and do, and it just doesn't have that. So I would recommend it. If you've watched the other two, I would say yes, watch it, because it's still a good enough movie.
I'm still planning on watching it.
Yeah, I would still watch it. It's still good enough, but it's
just not on that level.
Very disappointing compared to the other two.
Yeah. Fair enough. It's not terrible. That's the main thing.
It's not terrible at all.
It was always going to be a tall order, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that is everything. Like I said, I have finished Reacher, but I want to wait until you finished, I think, and we'll both cover it. Any news?
A couple of little pieces.
Well, we covered the Marvel bit, but
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I have some news.
Oh yeah.
It happened just now. In fact, it might not have happened just now, but I just saw it, so maybe it happened just now. There is definitely going to be. This is so specific.
Yeah.
I will read it. The live-action film of The Legend of Zelda will be released worldwide on the 26th of March, 2027. It's precisely on that day.
That's
so
a while away.
is a while away. But yeah, so that's happening. I think we covered the fact that it was happening anyway. But now we apparently have a date: 2027, March 26th.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I mean,
it's very specific. This far out, considering how much reshoots and delays and everything happens with movies, it's like, that's very brave of you to be like, no, this day.
It's always sort of weird when companies do that. You just think, oh well, that's an arbitrary date for you to try and get.
Just say spring or fall of 20,
I always feel sorry for it. It's like when they do that with games and things. You just think, hey, here's the date that you have to hit by, and you just think, oh, well, that's not going to put pressure on everybody involved to try and fucking work all the hours God sends to fucking.
Oh God, yeah.
It's done. I'm not a Nintendo. I've never been a Nintendo person.
I have been known to be a Nintendo person.
I've really played the early
Zelda games. Well, they're the best ones.
So I've not played sort of, was it Wind Waker or whatever it's called?
Oh, Wind Waker was cute. Yeah, I've played all the Zelda games by this point, and I like them all mostly.
Yeah, it's not that I dislike them, or it's just that I
you just don't have that attachment that.
Yeah, and I've never had the sort of consoles to play them.
But still, I mean, it's potentially a cool fantasy product that we're going to get.
I've always liked the idea of it, and I remember wasn't Zelda in, or Link? Wasn't Link in that
cartoon? Yes.
Yeah. The what was it called?
Captain N?
Yes, Captain N.
He was part of that, wasn't he?
He was, wasn't he?
And so he did. I think he had his own short, didn't he? As part of that, like his own little bit.
I like Captain.
I used to. That's a yeah. And you had the Super Mario Super Show and all that stuff.
Oh, the Super Mario Super Show was great because of. I love the bits with Lou Albano.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
The bits with Captain Lou were great.
Yeah.
It's like so weird that it's like, hey, Captain Lou Albano's Mario. That's weird.
That's bizarre, but fine. Yeah.
My favourite whole thing about that whole Lou Albano thing is his manager was Cyndi Lauper. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I love that Cyndi Lauper for a while was involved with wrestling. It's brilliant.
Oh, by the way, I finally watched the Mario movie. I thought it was really good. Oh,
it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought they incorporated Donkey Kong and everyone else pretty well. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that movie. And I'd be more than happy to watch another one.
Oh, yeah, I think there will be another one. It made a lot of money, I think.
There you go. There was What's-His-Face trying to do something different, if not.
Actually, yeah, he did Mario pretty well. I'll give you that. Yeah.
I mean, the voice wasn't.
But the thing is, I know he's capable of doing other stuff. He seems to be in a typecast rut for most of the time at the moment.
I think the thing is, it also feels like people don't want him to play anything else.
Yeah, probably it's just me wanting to see some range.
Of course, I do too. Because I think he can. Yeah, we both said we think he can do it.
Oh, totally.
But,
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Anyway.
So Linda Cardellini has been cast as Mrs. Voorhees.
Oh.
In the Friday the 13th prequel show.
That's going to be an interest. She's playing a corpse.
No, prequel, not sequel. Which could be interesting. I think Linda Cardellini's great.
Yeah, so do I. I'm always nervous of prequels. That said, one season of Bates Motel was superb. So there's that. Could happen.
Yeah, that first season was great.
Oh, so good, that first season.
So there's been a whole thing about the rights to who owns what with the Friday the 13th franchise, isn't it? And it's way too fucking complicated to go into. But I think they've all been in sort of development hell for years, haven't they? All these sort of things.
Yeah.
It looks like this is finally gonna be, happening. So I think it's gonna be 70s set, I think.
I will be really curious as to whether, because I feel like Friday the 13th has become so much about Jason.
Yeah.
I think most people today don't even realize that the first movie wasn't about Jason.
Well, I think it's more people know it because of
the iconography of Jason. I think the hockey mask.
Well, no, I think what I was going to say was I think more people know about the beginning of that because of things like Scream.
Oh yeah, of course there is
as
that.
a trivia question.
But are people going to watch a movie about it?
You know,
I will watch that. I think it's interesting. I could potentially be up for that. If the trailer's good, I'll watch it. But
I love that first Friday the 13th.
Me too. I think it's the best one. Let's be honest. It's the one that has plot.
It's probably the most cohesive of the movies.
Well, sorry, I misspeak. Jason X is clearly the best Friday the 13th movie, but I
love Jason X.
So do I. It's the natural conclusion to that stupid series. Of course it is.
Rubbish,
why wouldn't he go to space?
Yeah, of course. It's utter rubbish, and I love it.
Yeah, me too. It's absolute trash, but it just knows what it is.
Yeah, and those Friday the 13th movies,
were terrible.
There's a lot that I enjoy about.
Oh god, as a kid, I loved them.
Yeah, they're great.
But they are trash, and they are, I own them all on DVD, but whenever I see the Blu-rays, I'm like, it's just the same movie over and over again. I just can't be bothered, I mean,
there is one that Jason isn't even fucking in.
Yeah, it's what's his name? It's the kid from the last one.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a big fucking.
I'm curious if they do it well.
Yeah, and a sort of a Mrs. Voorhees sort of series could be interesting. It could, if they do it right, and it's seeing her, as this sort of struggling mother, who then goes bug fucked because kids didn't help her son.
Yeah,
that could be interesting.
It totally could. Yeah, and it's great casting if nothing else.
Yeah,
so
I like that. So in an interesting reboot of a series on the horizon, Jason Bourne franchise is up. The rights are up for purchase. So there's going to be a bidding war. Now, so this is going to be an interesting one because right now we're in a position where we've got the potential for the new Bond. We've got a new
James Bond spin-offs and all that stuff. Yeah,
we've got all that stuff. We've got the last Mission Impossible movie coming up.
Yep.
So there's, that will probably get a reboot straight away as well. So this is going to be interesting to see how they all,
I was thinking about that the other day.
About this, because the weird thing is that the Bourne franchise became so entangled with the Bond franchise because after the first Bourne movie, the Bond movies wanted to be fucking Bourne.
And it started all of the up-close shaky cam nonsense, which actually I think worked reasonably well in the early Jason Bourne movies. But
some of them, yeah. I like the first Bourne movie.
I rewatched them last year, and I really enjoyed the first couple. Really good. When they started doing the bring him back from after the third one, for sure, I was like, this is awful now. I don't know what you're doing. Just stop. But it was a good movie. I don't know. I don't know where you go with it. What you know.
Well, the interesting thing is that
do you just reboot it? Do you just start again?
There was already a previous Bourne movie.
Yes.
With what's his name? For fuck's sake, Richard Chamberlain. So there was already a Bourne movie with Chamberlain, which was much more of a sort of thriller.
Yes.
Sort of, thriller spy movie than the action movie that the franchise become. Although I've never read the books.
I read them back when the movies were coming out.
Yeah, but I think they are more thrillers, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
Sort of. So maybe they will go back to its roots and
well, it's funny you should say that, because I was just going to say when you mentioned the franchises potentially getting rebooted and whatnot, that Like, imagine if they made a Mission Impossible movie after Tom Cruise is done.
Yeah.
And they go back to Mission Impossible proper, like what Mission Impossible was originally. Yeah. People would be so like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, this isn't because Mission Impossible is so like bombastic and action packed and like I just imagine them going back to that original idea of the original series and just being like, we're gonna make a movie like this. I would enjoy it, but I just can't imagine it now because it's become something else, you know.
The weird thing about the Mission Impossible movies that I've never really forgiven them for is making Phelps the bad guy.
Yes,
in the first
that was a bizarre choice. Yeah,
and killing him off, and then making Ethan Hunt the main, which I always thought was just so weird.
It certainly was a choice.
Why did you do that? It's the weirdest thing. You basically got rid of the main character from Mission Impossible and replaced him with one of the minor characters.
Yeah, really strange.
It's weird. So, yeah, if they do go with Mission Impossible, if they do go back to like a Mission Impossible thing, are people going to be like, where's Ethan Hunt? Why is Ethan Hunt
and where's the over the top stunts and action that I've come to know as part of the series? Because I rewatched some of those recently as well, and that first movie is much more like Mission Impossible than the sequels. In fairness, there's a lot more of the spy kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's more hiding in the shadows of Berlin.
Yes,
and all that sort of stuff.
It really, I can't imagine going from that
spy type stuff.
Yeah. I just imagine it'd be really jarring going for even, talk about the series, that's another world. But even if you go from that first movie and then watched like Dead Reckoning or whatever the fuck it's called, you'd be like, Jesus.
The series itself changed as well.
Yes, it did. It did.
The first sort of couple of seasons or so is very different from how it ended up.
Yes. Yeah.
So, even within the series itself, it changed its parameters.
Yeah, I'd be curious with the Bourne thing. I mean,
it's gonna be interesting times to see what they do with
all of it. Yeah,
it's the thing is that right now we're at this weird part,
and they've just finished Jack Ryan as well. They could restart Jack Ryan. Well,
we're at this weird period in time where in the last couple of years, anything sort of male dominated and has been frowned upon, and they've wanted to change it.
So, well, yeah.
But now we're at this junction
apart from
where
Reacher and a few other things.
Yeah, but overall,
the direction has definitely changed. I agree.
And I think in the wider sphere, people are looking back at those sorts of things and going, okay, people do like those things. Can we do something?
Yeah, I love a bit of silly escapism. The silly macho 70s 80s movies. I love a bit of that. I was watching Dirty Harry the other day, and I was not. I was watching Magnum Force, and I was like, damn, this is good.
Oh,
this is good fun.
Yeah, great. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with them. I mean, I honestly, I'm not terribly hopeful for Bond under
Amazon. I just feel like it's going to be franchised to death.
Amy Pascal is in charge of it, and it's like, oh dear. I mean, she was in charge of the Spider-Man franchise, and she did some good things and she did some bad things. So
we will see. We will see.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Netflix might end up with the Bourne stuff. So
yeah.
Which could be a good or a bad thing. So we'll see what happens with that. So Starship Trooper.
Oh yeah, speaking of weird things to reboot.
Yeah, so
now that's another one. If they do the book, that'll be bizarre.
So this looks like it's going to be closer to the book.
Okay.
And they've given it to Neil Blomkamp.
So I'm sold on that idea.
Yes.
I will be very curious as to whether they stick to that. I always remember when they were like, whenever this situation comes up.
Yeah.
I always think back to that Carrie remake where they were like, "It's going to be closer to the book," and then I watched it. I was like, "No, it's not. Oh, that was just a lie. That was just a straight up lie."
You just basically remade Carrie.
Yeah, you're talking shit, sir.
Yeah. There was some really nice stuff in that the remake Carrie. It had a really good cast, but it was just rehashing the other movie, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, at least Carrie 2 The Rage did something different.
I like Carrie 2 The Rage.
I saw that. Do you know that was on Pluto or one of those free channels? I watched that a couple of years ago, and I was like, wow, this is still awful, but it was fun.
I went to the cinema to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what was there was one recently they did the same thing where they said, oh, we're going to go back to the book.
It's usually King. They do it a lot with King. They're like, we're going to be closer to the book, and then they never are.
No.
I don't know why.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, you're spot on. It was
Firestarter?
Well, no. That too. No, we both watched it recently.
What did we watch?
Vampire.
Vampire.
For fuck's sake. Salem's Lot.
Oh,
Salem's Lot. They said, "Oh, we're going back to the book. We're gonna make it more."
Yeah, and that was a lie. See, they just lie when they say this.
It's not though. Don't get me wrong. I liked that movie a lot. That new version. There was a lot wrong with it. But I enjoyed a lot of the aspects of it. Again, it was a lot of the stuff was closer to what had gone before than the actual book.
Yeah.
Like, please, just do the fucking book. But, you know.
But that said, Blomkamp, great director.
Yes.
Genuinely, a Starship Troopers closer to the book interests me actually. If they do it, I've been burnt so many times with this. It'll be closer to the book. Now, I love the original Starship Troopers, the movie. I love it.
Yeah, I do. It's a really great movie that I think people misunderstand.
Oh god, the fact that people do not understand satire and just completely miss everything.
The thing is though, is that movie you can so easily just go, yeah, it's just about gun and home.
It's so obvious that it's not though.
No, I know.
Like it's a propaganda movie. Like you're watching it from the perspective of being the media and seeing propaganda. Like it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a well-made movie. That I think speaks to how good Starship Troopers is. That people to this day, it's still gone over their heads. You know. But there is definitely room in this world for a more faithful adaptation.
Yeah.
And a great director like Neil Blomkamp. I'm sold on that idea.
The only thing I'm slightly wary of is that fucking poor Blomkamp, he's been screwed over.
Well, he was going to do RoboCop. That didn't work, so now he's moved on to the next Verhoeven adaptation that he can...
How many times has he been attached to something that sounds fucking amazing?
Oh, I know. Alien. He was going to do Alien, like a new Alien. He was going to do RoboCop.
Yep. Something else he was attached to as well.
There was something else. I can't think what it is, though.
It's just, it's like, please,
please just let this man make what he wants.
Let him do something good, please.
100%, because he has the coolest ideas, and he always has these like amazing concept art sketches made, and I'm like, oh, it looks so good, and then it just doesn't happen.
And somewhere in the multiverse,
all of those movies have been made. Yeah,
there is a universe where we got those bloody Alien sequels, which means we could completely ignore all the other shit that came after Aliens.
Yeah,
and somewhere there was justice for Hicks and Newt.
Yeah,
I mean you can read the comics. They get justice in those movies.
And the unmade Alien 3 audiobook. That's
Oh yeah. I'm still haven't listened to that.
It's all right. It would have been better, but you know.
I mean, I've got a lot of love for number 3, but
me too. Especially the cut they did, the newer cut.
Yeah. But the assembly cut. It always gets a fuck you from me for killing off Hicks and Newt.
Oh, and in such a horrible way.
Yeah.
It does really leave. It really does leave a bad taste in your mouth for the rest of that movie, especially the first time you watch it.
It's cool and unnecessary. Yeah, but yeah, yes, please. Let's have a Starship Trooper by Blomkamp. I absolutely adore that. If that was
if they do it, I'm there.
Pass.
Like you, it's like, will it actually happen? I don't know, but if it does, cool.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it.
Oh my god, nobody died. Thank God. So, Matt, what are we doing next time?
So, I'm convinced we've done this movie before.
Let's do it again.
We have not. I am 50 this year.
Yes, you are.
So, I decided that we should do some movies that came out in 75.
Absolutely. And it's a hell of a year, as we discovered when we looked up the movies.
And I think we should start with Jaws.
Yeah, like that is a movie I feel like we've done, but we haven't, because I did check.
Yeah.
100%. Let's do Jaws. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Love that movie. It's the only shark movie that ever needed to be made. It's a one and done. And I guess we'll talk about it more when we do Jaws.
I like Deep Blue Sea.
No. No, it's got moments. It's got moments. There were sharks.
Has one of the best deaths ever.
I agree.
Because it completely comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. Also, Saffron Burrows.
But it's just one of those like there is only one story you can tell about a shark, and they did it in Jaws, and they did it perfectly. And ever since, it's like, but you've like the shark movie has been made. Move on. No more shark movies. Sharks can feature, but not be, the reason for your shark movie. We've done it.
You don't like the one with Michael Caine where? Oh,
Jaws: The Revenge, where the shark has had a grudge against the Brody family and has moved islands with them. So the shark's family is furious.
I love it, but it's still one of my favourite responses to it.
Oh yeah, the response is perfect.
The Michael Caine when they said, "Hey, have you seen this movie?" And he's like, "No, but I've seen the house that it bought me, and I like that very much."
Yeah. Nowhere near the sea.
And I've got a real love for Jaws of Revenge as well. I mean,
I love those later Jaws movies. I enjoy them. Much like, it's a slasher movie with a shark, right? I mean, and much like all slasher movies, they become very repetitive and generic.
Yeah. I mean, I remember. I don't know how old you were when the 3D one came out.
The 3D one, I understand why they made that, because the idea of a shark going mental in a sea parks is kind of appealing on some level.
Were you conscious enough to be around the hype of that movie?
No, God no. I don't remember the hype of it. I remember seeing it and thinking as a kid, like, this is a really cool idea.
Dude, even when that came out on television.
Yeah. Was that were they handing out 3D glasses for the TV?
Yeah,
oh man.
Even the TV release for that movie was a big thing.
Get your 3D glasses with the Radio Times.
Yeah, Radio Times, I think.
Amazing. That's so cool.
3D glasses and stuff, and they were on cereal boxes. And
I do remember watching movies with those 3D glasses, but I don't remember it being Jaws 3.
Right.
I don't know, maybe it was, but yeah.
I have seen Jaws 3 with the 3D. Well,
I have not seen it with the 3D glasses to my knowledge.
I mean, yeah, 3D is always been one of those mental things that just comes and goes and doesn't ever really leave any big impression.
It goes in cycles. It's the weird thing. Yeah. When 3D became like the massive thing in the 2000s, everyone was like, oh my God. And I'm like, we've done this so many times. And it always comes down to the same gimmicks. It always comes back to House of Wax, Yeah. Like every fucking 3D series, whenever 3D comes around, the cycle ultimately comes back around to House of Wax. The guy outside the wax museum with the fucking yo-yo doing the yo-yo in your face. That's what every 3D movie devolves into. every single time, and they always end up going that way. You get a few that have some interesting ideas, and then it just descends into that.
Yeah. Well, the only 3D movie that I ever completely got submerged in was Gravity.
Yes, I agree, and I've never watched it since because I'm like, that was the perfect film to see in the cinema. It was like I felt like I was in space. It was a nonsense plot, but I had great time. I'm never going to have that experience again,
well,
and I don't need to see it at home.
I have seen it since, and I still love it. It's still good, but
okay.
I mean, I ducked.
Yeah. Oh God, I remember the opening of that. Just seeing the Earth in the opening, I was like, oh my God! Yeah. Like with 3D glasses on and everything, that was really impressive.
Yeah, it was just a brilliant experience.
Yes, it was an experience. Yeah.
When I do like, there's a joke that I think Tina Fey made about George Clooney in that movie, and it was George Clooney was so upset to spend time with a woman his own age, he killed himself.
That is actually pretty funny.
That was great.
Isn't it bizarre that we live in a world now where George Clooney's doing coffee adverts and stuff? Just never thought that would happen.
I've never been a big George Clooney fan anyway.
No, but it's just fun. It's just weird when you see big stars, you know.
It's fucking weird.
It's like I said the other like a couple of years ago, I kind of reached the age where all of the shows I used to love, they now give away free on like Pluto and stuff and Tubi because no one gives a shit about them anymore.
Yeah,
it's a weird world we live in. But
I mean, I think one of the weirdest things for me about George Clooney is he's like campaigning to get the Elgin marbles back to Greece. It's like, Jesus, fuck off. Just
of all the things.
Well, his wife is a lawyer.
Oh, okay, right. He's trying to get her some work.
Well, she was part of the. I think she was part of the campaign that was trying to get them back, and so
right.
I kind of understand it. But it is like,
yeah.
I have mixed feelings about the Elgin marbles, but
anyway, I don't think we've got mixed feelings about Jaws.
No,
certainly not the first one. And yeah, sounds good to me. So we will be back next week with a in-depth look at Jaws. Until then, stay safe, take care, and we'll catch you next time.